8 days after the London plane ride that resulted in Scott Hall and Curt Hennig being fired from the company, the follow-up of the consequences continued on Raw, with Ric Flair scripted to make 2 shoot reveals regarding the status of the nWo, saying that Hall was let go after failing to take out Austin on several occasions, while breaking the Nash suspension storyline, saying that we all know he's not suspended but legitimately out with bicep injury, with JR on Friday addressing the buzz around the flight, saying that a handful of people who consumed too much alcohol acted like children, with the conduct of this minority being unacceptable and would not be tolerated in the future, with one of the main participants in the chaos on the flight who escaped with no heat, and Brock Lesnar opening Raw in front of over 17,000 back in Toronto for the first time since WrestleMania 18. Going 3 minutes in a handicap match against the Hardys to see Raw taking a massive hit to open with a 3.2 rating, by far the lowest rated quarter of the year and one of the lowest openings in years, making it a massive drop of over 1.4 million viewers from the 5.6 million viewers the previous Monday to 4.2 million on the night, with no other explanation for the number other than perhaps the name change, after encouraging signs over the past week of both Raw and SmackDown rebounding strong, with Raw recovering over 700,000 viewers in the second quarter, with Ric Flair's promo with Big Show explaining his heel turn on Austin, saying that for the first time he could sympathize with Vince McMahon after trying to deal with Austin in the past month, while hyping their pay-per-view handicap match on Sunday. In addition to setting up a huge match for the show, saying that there's gonna be a WWE title match tonight, promoting a Legend vs. Legend match, booking Hogan to defend the title against himself in the first ever Flair vs. Hogan match on WWF TV, to a big reaction. Other than all the rumors about the talked-about plane ride, Jim Ross also addressed rumors about perhaps the 2 biggest free agents in the industry in Bill Goldberg and Scott Steiner potentially signing with the company in the near future, saying that preliminary talks between Goldberg and the company already started the moment he officially became a free agent over the past 10 days, and they hope to meet him in person as soon as possible, with Steiner's only obstacle from already signing his contract being his medical condition, with him dealing with back and foot injuries that won't allow him to work a full-time road schedule, with JR hinting that his signing will be imminent as soon as they get more medical information on his condition, and with the WWE looking to get the last top WCW headliners as free agents, with Goldberg, Steiner, Sting and Luger the only ones currently left. A possible alternative to the WWF's monopoly was officially announced during the week, with Jeff and Jerry Jarrett officially announcing the formation of NWA Total Nonstop Action to debut on June 19 in a weekly pay-per-view format, with Raw's first hour after the unexplainably low start seeing the 9 to 10 p.m. hour averaging a 3.6 rating to make it the lowest rated hour of Raw in its regular time slot in 4 years since the early stages of the boom period in early '98, in a massive drop of 1.5 million viewers from last Monday. Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan made their entrances at 9:55 p.m. with the match kicking off 2 minutes from the top of the hour, seeing the surreal scenario of just a year ago of Hogan and Flair not only facing each other again in a WWF ring but wrestling for the WWF title, with the match also historic for being the first ever televised Hogan vs. Flair match on WWF television, after the company ended up taking a different direction instead of them facing each other, with Hogan facing Steed and Flair wrestling Savage a decade ago at WrestleMania 8, when it was arguably the most anticipated dream match in the history of the industry, as Flair and Hogan worked their usual proven formula with a strong performance while working the Toronto crowd into a frenzy, going 9 minutes at the top of the hour quarter to bump Raw over 900,000 viewers in total to the peak quarter of the night, but with the show starting at one of the lowest levels on Raw in years. The unadvertised match, which would be expected to pop a massive rating if given proper hype, peaked during 10 to 10:15 p.m. with a 4.2 quarter, seeing Hogan having the match won to bring out the nWo, followed by Bradshaw and finally Steve Austin to lay out Flair, with Hogan going over to retain to a massive reaction. With the big Flair-Hogan match being placed midway through the show, Flair announced the headline segment for the broadcast minutes later, booking Austin in a lumberjack match against a mystery opponent, which will also be the new member of the nWo, looking to revive the group with no member of the original group currently part of it, with Hogan turning babyface, Nash injuring his arm and Hall leaving the company. As Raw followed up the first ever world title match under the WWE initials with another double title match of Bubba and Trish against Richards and Jazz, with both hardcore and women belts on the line, seeing Trish winning the title in front of an hometown crowd in Toronto, followed by the announcers running down the loaded star power card for the Judgment Day pay-per-view on Sunday. With Raw's second hour improving over the 4-year low to hover around a 4.2 rating for the majority of the 10 p.m. hour, a deeper look at the numbers brought more bad news for the WWE on the night, with viewers per home dropping significantly as the broadcast went on at an almost unprecedented rate, resulting in the first hour being the more watched on the night despite a much higher rating in the second, with viewership peaking midway through with 5.5 million viewers for the Hogan vs. Flair title match to see the first hour drawing 4.7 million viewers compared to 4.6 in the second, and a major reason for concern for the company if it's a developing pattern, with hopes of it being a one-week aberration. With Raw entering the final quarter with perhaps the most talked about segment of the night coming next, as with Hulk Hogan about to leave the Air Canada Centre before changing his mind with plans to be in Austin's corner. Undertaker attacked him from behind before tying his legs to the motorcycle to see him dragging Hogan all over the backstage area in a memorable segment for the final major angle before their pay-per-view headliner in 6 days, bumping up the final quarter back to a 4.2 rating. With Austin's opponent still unknown with him already in the ring, Ric Flair announced Booker T for the match, along with being the new member of the nWo, with the match along with the Lumberjacks being picked by Flair, also seeing the first interaction of Austin and Brock Lesnar, with Lesnar in his first time being part of the main event segment getting a featured spot in the match to beat on Austin in several spots to start to build up anticipation for their eventual clash when Lesnar climbs up the card in the future, as Austin vs. Booker went 5 minutes, crossing into 11 p.m. to peak at a 4.8 rating in the 5-minute overrun, seeing Austin being laid out for the third week in a row, with another turn this time of Arn Anderson taking him out in a beatdown with Flair and Show heading into the handicap match on Sunday, with Raw after seeing unusual viewing patterns throughout the entire broadcast for the last 2 hours, ending up with Raw having one of its biggest one-week viewership drops in show history, going from nearly 6.5 million viewers last Monday to 4.6 million tonight, bringing up questions on what caused the massive drop in such a short span, including a potential viewers turnoff coming from the company's WWFTE name change, with this Thursday and next Monday should bring a wider sample size to see if there's a strong rebound coming off a pay-per-view.